Hello everyone, this is Skull Kid Kazooie. You're watching this on Skull Kid Tooie, and today we're going to be reacting to a video. This is my friend E10. He has a YouTube channel where he uploads very high quality content. I've watched this video about Metroid. I don't agree with it, but I can understand where he's coming from, and I think it is very well edited. I think it's a very well portrayed video. I watched his Dream Team video, and it gave me a good sense of what the game is like. I think that portrayed it well, and that's what we look for in, I would say, up and coming. He's already got a few subscribers, but you know, this is what we look for in content creators, people who can do a great job of not only portraying their opinions, not only portraying the facts and what the game is like, but also can portray, they can tell a narrative with their reviews, which I think he does flawlessly in these two videos. Recently he uploaded a video on Super Paper Mario called Super Paper Mario Makes Me Sleep. So I should give a little background. I've known E10 for a bit now. I didn't like him at first because he kind of like dissed on Super Paper Mario, and I was kind of in like a middle ground where I was still kind of new to the internet. But I think I took it too personally, so we got into like arguments and stuff, and then like later on we just kind of became friends. But if you couldn't tell, just by that, I really, really care about Super Paper Mario. It was my first Paper Mario. I played it when I was like 10, probably around. I played it, got like all the way to the end, to the final chapter, and then just stopped playing it for whatever reason. I care a lot about it. And I played it recently. I played it last like January, and I don't know. I think it holds up to what it was like as. I think it's better. I think I like it more than I did as a kid. I think the story is excellent. The platforming is really fun. I really love what they do with the combat. The music and visuals are both phenomenal. I think it has the best OST and best visuals, bar none, of the original three. I think the controls are very nice. I just think the atmosphere is amazing. I think the towns are really nice. Like it's just kind of like it's like, to me it's the perfect example of the best way to transition Mario into an RPG format while keeping the spirit of Mario. It has the Marioisms, it has like the fun platform, the floating blocks, but it also has the more grounded atmosphere and feel of an RPG. It has the numbers, it has the mechanics, it even has like a little bit of strategy with what you do with the items. Because actually, items are really well done. I think they're really cool. But E10 does not like it. It's his least favorite Paper Mario, I believe, which is completely fair. He's allowed to have whatever opinion he wants about the game. Obviously, I'm not the sole no person is the sole like ruler of what opinions are allowed to be had. I can admit that there are flaws with Super Paper Mario, and while they just kind of go over my head, I don't really see them when I play it. It's completely valid that other people would feel that way, that they'd it's completely valid they'd have issues. It's not for everyone. No game is for everyone. This one in particular, E10, just a little extra background. He's more of a, it's from what I've seen and heard from him, he's a pretty big fan of 2D Mario. He likes a lot of the 2D Mario games. I believe New Super Mario Bros. DS and Super Mario Bros. 3 on the NES are two of his like favorite games. So he's more interested in like hardcore, like obstacle course platforming, which I can fully admit Super doesn't really do. It tries to have a more grounded. I don't want to say flat, but it definitely feels like realistic terrain with Mario stuff in it, which kind of goes against what he'd want, which is totally fair. So that's just something going in, but we're gonna watch it, and the main goal of this is to see whether he does a good job of separating the facts about the game and portraying the objective stuff and his own personal criticism. Because I think you can portray what the game is like while also giving your thoughts and criticisms and making it very entertaining. I know this guy's funny. He's very funny. So we're going to watch this now.
Wow, this game really good sleep-inducing ASMR.
Now, usually when people talk about Super Paper Mario, they talk about the story. But to truly understand why I dislike this game, we need to touch on the gameplay. So indulge me here. This game is a platformer with RPG elements. What's funny about the RPG elements is that they only serve to make the game easier.
What I immediately like about this is he's immediately setting the facts. He's immediately setting that it's like, he's describing what it's like. Do the RPG elements serve to make the game easier? People will pull up like a developer interview where they said that, but that's one person. And I know he's probably like, I don't know. I know there's definitely a bit of making it easier, but it's not like the game doesn't scale with you. So, kind of, I guess.
That's not my words, that's the director.
Yeah, it's right there. So, NP, why was it important to retain some of the game's RPG elements? In this game, even if the player is not as good at action games, the characters grow stronger as the game goes on, making it easier to keep playing. True. Easier to keep playing does not mean easier game. In order for the game to be enjoyed by as many people as possible, I felt it was greatly beneficial to bring these RPG elements. So I kind of feel like he's misinterpreting this. Making it easier to keep playing does not mean making the game difficulty-wise easier. It just, gives that feedback loop of, ooh, I'm leveling up, I'm getting EXP, I'm doing all this advancement, I'm getting coins that I can spend on stuff. I think that's what this developer meant. I could be wrong, but already starting off a little shaky. The intro was really good, though.
And the platforming, it's not much. The controls are pretty slow, and the jump is really high, which means there's not enough wiggle room for platforming challenges to work with. And as a result, the level design is pretty generic at best.
As he was saying that, he was showing some platforming that was taking advantage of the more floaty controls and slower movement. Super Paper Mario is, by design, a more slow-paced platformer. And, it's kind of, I believe my interpretation of it is that it's trying to give the feeling of an RPG and mix it with a 2D platformer, which I think the game does excellent at, but that would be why the controls are more floaty. I think all of the challenges that the game gives you are completely designed around the controls, and while I certainly don't think it's generic, that's totally fair that he has that opinion.
The other characters get some platforming moves, but they're very situational, and they sure don't make the level design more.
Peach's float, whatever, is only required a few times, but if you don't use it throughout the game, you're probably not going to have as much fun. There are so many moments in the game where you can use her float to skip over large gaps and sections that normally, Mario would have to platform through, but with Peach you can skip those. And that's not in service of making the game easier. That's in service of a problem-solving moment where you go, oh, I can use Peach to do this. And also, Peach can help with making stylish moves easier to do. If you're bouncing off of enemies and say they're a little far apart, you could swap to Peach, bounce on them, and do your little stylish moves, or it could you extra EXP, and then you could float over to other Goombas or the weird kind of square things, whatever they're called, and you can continue bouncing on them using her. It's all about giving you tools to do stuff with the environment. Like, in Tears of the Kingdom, the build ability is not there to make the game easier or to, make it more. It's not like supposed to be situational. You're supposed to use it in tandem with the exploration. I know that's not the greatest example, but I hope that you guys can get behind what I'm saying.
No, this game seems much more interested in combat. The game's filled with straight lines of enemies, and there's a lot of combat. What's cool is that each one comes with a drawback, so you're encouraged not to spam them. Boomer has a bomb, but he's usually better for ground enemies. Throw lets you grab and throw enemies, but it has a limited arc and range. Sorry.
This guy is amazing at explaining stuff. That was not only a really well done little graphic, but that is completely true. Like, I think that E10, this guy could be like a game designer if he really wanted to be, because he knows this stuff. He gets it down like so well.
Did I say each one? What I meant to say is... Carrie makes
So that is a pretty funny graphic. Carrie is kind of overpowered. Uh, yeah, fair point.
you faster, and you can jump on spiked enemies. Yeah, remember the jump? Naturally, if you can jump on enemies repeatedly, which is very easy, then you
Eh, it might be just a skill issue on my hand, but there are a couple of moments in the game where jumping on enemies could be a little difficult. That was, like to me, it was a fun challenge. Maybe it wasn't to E10, but at least in my opinion, it could be quite challenging to jump on enemies consistently sometimes.
can destroy most encounters. That is, unless the enemy has spikes on it. Carrie just nullified that. Speaking of things with no drop.
Uh, well, I mean, that's the whole point. Like there are like you can also take out those piranha plants by using bury the pixel, or by throwing things at them, or by using the bomb. It's just carries the best for those types of situations. Like to me, that makes perfect sense. Should carry have a little bit of a nerf? Yeah, super might have been like a little rushed, a little unbalanced. The game is definitely the easiest of the main three, but I don't know. I don't think it's the hugest issue, but I do admit it might mess up combat for some people. If you purely want to do what is objectively the best all the time, then yeah, I guess.
Drawbacks, Bowser's Flame Breath.
I'm grinding.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bowser's Flame Breath is one of those things I can't really defend. That is definitely a what were you thinking kind of thing. Once again, I don't think it ruins combat. If you specifically decide to use Bowser, then you're going to have a lot less fun. Like once as E10 just showed, to use Bowser, all you do is press down. And another thing is if you're using Bowser and Carry the entire game, and you're just using those two, platforming is not going to really be that fun because Bowser's giant and he gets hit really easy. And he doesn't have defense in this game. He has crazy attack, but he's kind of a huge target essentially. I don't think people who use Bowser, I don't know, like I don't know. You're just it feels like Bowser's. Yes, you're doing better. It's easier, but you're also you know the game's not going to be as enjoyable. It's like carrying around a giant mace, maybe, that you have to drag along with you, and you can swing it around and hit anyone in front of you, but you have to drag around this giant mace.
obvious answer some may suggest is don't use Carrie and don't use Bowser. But
Yes, I would suggest that. I would suggest that, and I bet he's going to say, "But if they're in the if they're in the game, why would I not use them? They're optimal." That's my guess is what he'll say, but who knows?
if every other pixel is so situational, it just makes combat more tedious than anything.
Swapping out pixels takes like 5 seconds max, and usually you get if it's rewarding, it's a little like ooh, I figured this out type of thing. Yeah, you're not technically like rewarded with more coins or experience, but I don't know. I disagree with this.
Besides, you don't need either of them. Just flip to 3D and you'll ignore everything regardless. But oh no, I take 1 damage every 10 seconds.
Uh, so 3D definitely as a mechanic is flawed. I This is another one of those things that like to me just doesn't matter when I'm playing the game, but I can fully admit that 3D could have been done better. The one damage thing is definitely I think it would have been better if they either I don't know, maybe if they made it so you have to flip back to 2D instead of just taking one damage. That's a way they could have done better. But as far as avoiding enemies, there are enemies in 3D, and also you're not going to get experience points because, fighting enemies is what you need to do. And I feel like the platforming in 3D is way harder than in 2D. I fell into like way more gaps and pits, and there's also a lot of areas that you just cannot traverse in 3D. So, yeah, agree the 3D meter thing completely flawed. Everything else, half and half. Kind of, I think it differs depending on the person.
The balance in this game is so skewed that I have no idea where the priorities were. Now the puzzles. The puzzles are like, oh no, I forgot the passcode to my iPhone.
Your password is uppercase A, lowercase 6, uppercase T, lowercase h, uppercase 5, 6, lowercase y, uppercase u.
So I will say this about some of the puzzles. They definitely are more experimental. There's a kind of a joke with like you have to write down the stuff. I do admit there is a lot of passcodes, but that's once again another thing. Like to me, I just don't have a problem with it. That is definitely a very subjective, depends on the person thing. I can completely understand why these might not be for E10 at all, but for me, things like the press one and minus at the same time. There's like a pedestal you have to stand on. You have to press those at the same time. That is so cool to me because it takes advantage of something outside of the game. The puzzles like the Mimi chapter 3 thing, the chapter 5-1 thing where it's like insert like a key, not a key, but you have to like insert like a pattern. That stuff to me is kind of cool and both like you don't normally see that in like a Mario game and it doesn't really ever take that long. I mean, the Mimi thing definitely is egregious, but like, it ties into the story of how you're being how you're a slave. That he'll probably bring that up at some point too. I wouldn't be surprised if he started bringing up like the individual terrible chapters, but yeah. I don't have a problem with the puzzles, but completely fair that he does.
Uppercase J.
Okay. Case A, lowercase r. Is that O or 0? 5, 6, U. Current passcode. What? And then the rest are like, oh no, a tiny door. I wonder if the thing that makes me small would work here. Don't worry, it all doesn't matter.
Now there are quite a few puzzles that aren't. Oh no, there's a tiny door. I know there's like in 7-2 or 7-1. There's a water area that's really cool. There's the would the jump over the tree like 10 times thing they have to do at one point? Would that fall under the write it down category? I don't know where that would fall. I don't know. There are definitely puzzles in the game that are good, but I do admit there are maybe a few too many that are a bit too simple.
Right? Because of the story. The story is good. Look, if this was like a walking sim, or a Sony style game, or a visual novel, then this claim would hold up. My favorite game is One Shot.
Yet to play it, everyone I've heard from says it's amazing. I really do want to play that game.
Its gameplay is combining items. That's not why it's so special to me, and that's not why people like it. But Super Paper Mario is not that kind of game. There's plenty of time where all the focus is on the gameplay, so I don't believe this argument truly works. If all the cards truly were on the story, then there would be way more dialogue. The story would be way more prominent. There would be more. I do kind of like...
So I think the thing that Super Paper Mario is trying to go for is a half and half. And I think the whole platforming isn't fun is so incredibly dependent on the person because I had a lot of fun with the platforming. Can I properly defend the platforming? Not really, because there's no... Well, there might be some bits that are objective, but the platforming being generic to E10 is completely how he feels. Like, there's nothing I can say that can prove him wrong, and there's nothing he can say that proves me wrong. We can bring up examples and counter each other for eons, but in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because, it's just different people, different things.
Like the writing. I mentioned a few years back that I like Where's My Merlee, and the prologue's also written pretty well. But there's writing and there's story. While I think the writing's pretty good, I'm not that enthusiastic about the story.
Completely fair. Completely fair. I love the story. I think the story is amazing. I think it goes in such a bold direction. TTYD, and even, I haven't played Origami King, but I for sure know that game. Both of those games really go in some interesting directions, but I think the concepts that Super Paper Mario covers go far and beyond any other Paper Mario game, any other Mario RPG, most RPGs. Like the concept, like look in the back right here. This thing right here. This is one of my favorite parts of the game, and it's just this small little black hole. It grows over the game. You can see it in the background of most levels. The Sammer's Kingdom level is just a race against this black hole, and the entire. I won't spoil it, but the entire reason behind Count Bleck and his reason to create this black hole is just incredibly compelling and tragic to someone like me. I like certain stories that some people might not like. Uh, for example, what's a game? Uh, I guess there's none off the top of my head that I can think of that are controversial. But point being, there's a lot of stuff in this game that just really clicks with me, and a lot of stuff that really resonates with me. Even like the little bits in between chapters where it's just Mario and the gang talking and stuff. That just it's everything I personally could want from a Mario RPG. I love when the characters, especially when it is straight up Mario characters, I love when they talk to each other. And they're in this fantastical realm full of like a mixture of what makes a Mario game and what makes uh like Paper Mario, not a Paper Mario, but like all this unique otherworldly stuff that's alien. Like the concept of mashing this all together into this one experience, to me, I like it. Fair that he doesn't, though. Completely fair.
The point is, this game isn't irredeemable. It had the potential to be awesome. Like a combat-focused Mario platformer sounds sick. It just wasn't really done well, and even the most amazing writing wouldn't save that. That's why my final score for Super Paper Mario is a 3 out of 10.
Oh! Oh, my heart, a 3. A 3 to my precious baby game. A 3 to my beloved game. Ah! E10, you've killed me. You've killed me. You've killed me.
Look, if what I said here sounds fine, if you can ignore it, then go ahead and play the game. The last thing I want to do is to detract people from a potentially great time.
That is pretty cool of him to say. I'm glad he's saying that. Like, you know, there are games that I play that I don't like that I can still go, hey, yeah, someone might like this. It takes a lot of, it takes a lot of like, what's the word? I don't want to say balls, but it takes a lot of maturity, I think, to say like, yeah, if this sounds interesting, you gotta go try it. There are lots of people who are like, don't try this thing. Like even if you want to play it because like just to see if it's this bad, even if you want to play it because you think you might like it, don't. There's a lot of people that are kind of like that, so I do appreciate that he is like this because I think personally, Super Paper Mario is an experience that you should try. You should try it because I think it best is described as hit or miss, but not like as a game, but to whether it'll connect to you. To me, it hit. To E10, it missed. So I do actually appreciate him recommending it because some people will agree with him, some people will really like it, and I'm glad he can. I'm glad he can say that.
What I want is to let people know what they're getting into. And that means everything they're getting into. In short, Super Paper Mario...
Not this bullshit. So the Anti-SPM Association is... it's a lot of things. So it's essentially this small group of people that really hate Super Paper Mario. Also, you can see Yui right there. I never noticed that. They posted like a bunch of GIFs on Tenor of these like exaggerated like me when someone like Super Paper Mario and it's like the Mario running away and stuff. And I have a lot of opinions on those. I think that it's a really funny idea that's kind of, maybe gone a little too far. I think I've seen people use those unironically a few too many times. And there's also the fact that it's just like I'm looking up like I'm like, ooh, this would be cool for like a cute Mario reaction. I have to scroll through a bunch of these and it's just like, damn, I really like this game and I have to see this when I'm looking for something purely positive. But then again, that is just the internet. It's just an ocean, and sometimes you'll find what you're looking for, sometimes you won't. Uh, Overall, though, these are not malicious. Maybe the people that like are toxic on Reddit are, but the majority of the people who qualify under the anti-SPM association, they're not bad people. It's just a joke that maybe, in my opinion, kind of goes a little too far. Maybe if it was like 3 or 4 gifs, then it would be kind of funny. But yeah, a little past being funny for me personally. Some of them are pretty funny. There's actually like a Luigi one I really think is funny because that one's, I don't know, it's silly.
In bad game design.
So yeah, editing is top notch. It's amazing editing. I think this is a very well done video. Do I agree with all the points? No, but I think he did a really well, like a really good job of laying them out. I don't really have any like major problems with the video. Yeah, I would say I think it's a well done review. In fact, you know what? We'll leave a like and a comment. So I'll give a like. We'll give him a well-deserved like. Well, let's read some actually. That intro segment in the Luigi Pass parts were my favorites. Same. I like that part a lot. Uh, he's on to him. E10 Gyat Cam. How do I double like comments? Anyways, let's leave a comment of our own. You are wrong. Super Paper Mario is the best game ever, and you are stupid, and I don't like you, and I'm reporting LLLLLLL. Alright, have a great day. Okay, I know I kind of ended the video with a bit of a... No, don't go back! I know I ended it with a bit, but, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope I, you know... Oh, that actually, that's really nice. Thank you.